Not Nerd Podcast, episode 305, Switches Upon Switches.
Welcome to the Not Nerd Podcast. I'm Nate Heath, and we are here to help you tech better. Here with me, as always, Mr. Dave Baylor.
Well, hello, one and all you tech betterers out there.
Yes. Oh, see, it's catching on. It's catching on.
We see you out there in Belgium. We see you in Brazil. Keep listening. Keep thumbing up our videos we post once every quarter.
Yes.
All those things.
And our bi-monthly Instagram posts and all that. TikTok.
Like and subscribe.
I've been somewhat active on TikTok. I need to get some more posts on there. But yes, we try to be all places to help out our tech betterers out there. And we do that with some follow-up to start things off. And so I got my new iPhone 13 Pro, and I've been looking on Amazon for cases. Now, Apple does have their 13 cases, and I think when I was picking up my phone, they have one other brand that has their 13 lineup out. But I don't like to spend $50 on an Apple case, even though I spend a lot on the phone. So I'm looking on Amazon, and I've had such good history good luck in the past with cases. Problem is there's not a lot yet, and I need something that works very well with MagSafe, that actually has the MagSafe built into it for my car mount. Well, I have two cases that I've tried. Neither of them are going to work out. But here's where the pro tip comes in. I went to start my returns on Amazon, and these are both like $15 cases. I noticed you must return this by January 31st, 2022. So here we are at the beginning of October, and they are already doing their holiday return policy.
Wow, that is crazy.
Yeah. I'm guessing it's mostly across the board on that. But so 3 months, November, December, January, 3.5 months return policy, and Amazon's is already good on that. But I will do a pro tip on my pro tip. If you are aware, there are supply chain issues in various areas of the world happening. Yeah. And I heard somebody mention this week that they saw something saying, hey, don't wait to the last minute this year for your Christmas shopping, because there's a good chance whatever you want isn't going to be available. So I am a notorious procrastinator, but plan ahead for your holiday shopping. If there's stuff you can buy now, hopefully you'll get it by Christmas. And yes. I know that with a couple of my clients as well, that things are slow. There's a lot of ships off the coast of California that are waiting to get into port, and truckers aren't working and all kinds of stuff. So I wanted to make sure all that, my case adventure, I've got a new one coming Tuesday. So maybe that'll be my pick of the week next week for my phone. But Amazon, the holiday returns, and plan ahead for your holiday shopping or anything in your life that you need right now.
Yeah. We generally do not give life pro tips, but a good tip is do not procrastinate. Do things early, vote often.
Yeah, yes.
Or whatever that is.
Do as I say, not as when I actually do it. That's my procrastination tip.
Yes.
And one other Amazon note, I don't know if we mentioned this last week. I was watching through the little promo video for the Amazon Astro robot. It's got a cup holder, so it can deliver a drink to you if somebody's at the refrigerator, puts a drink on it, and then it knows how to get to you. So
it needs to have an attachment where it has a little arm that can grab something and put it in the holder,
or a cooler built in, or
that'd be kind of cool. Yeah, I think the idea is you're watching the big game and you can't be bothered, and so you send Astro into the kitchen where, of course, all of the American housewives are busy chatting it up and making dinner for the boys,
watching their souffle in the oven.
Yeah. And so it's, honey, get me the beer. And she puts it on Astro, and he comes and takes it back.
Makes sense. Well, I ended up working my working on Windows computers ebbs and flows, and this week happened to be a heavy Windows week, and that coincided with Windows 11 actually being released. We've been talking about that, and so I'd go in, usually whenever I get on a Windows computer, I go in, check the updates, and there's this little message box in there that, you know, says Windows 11 is out, and your computer does not meet the specs, or a couple that I was working on did meet the specs, but it didn't look like it was ready to update. Again, my strong advice to you, and from some of the reviews I've read, there is no reason on earth for you to update to Windows 11. There's a couple things that are better, and the subsystem and stuff like that, but one of the big selling points of Windows 11 was that you'd be able to run any Android apps on your Windows computer. Yeah. And that is coming later.
Oh, they don't even have it there yet.
So. No, they pulled that one back. So it's, unless you really, really want to be on Windows 11, I do not recommend, even if it says your computer's good, just stay on Windows 10 for a while.
Yeah, it's always good advice to let the tech air out a little bit of these new operating systems, to let other people have the opportunity to break it, and for Microsoft to issue patches and fixes. So yeah, if you don't need it, don't rush out and get it, because it really doesn't offer much other than a updated user interface, which I mean is good, but Windows 10's interface is not bad.
Yes, that I agree. Well, we were talking in last week's episode, and it was still, we were trying to gather all the information on the big Facebook outage, and then we were also talking about the whistleblower and all that stuff. Well, during that long outage, Telegram, which is a secure messaging app, says that it added 70 million with an M users during the WhatsApp outage. So it was good for their business.
So I wonder, so it was about 6 hours that WhatsApp and Facebook and Instagram were down. What was the impetus for somebody to go, this is the last straw, I'm just done with WhatsApp or Facebook Messenger or whatever?
Just needed to be able to do messaging, or they had been meaning to switch. And Telegram, in the article from TechCrunch, it does say that Telegram, which recently topped 1 billion downloads, had 500 million monthly active users as of early this year. So it's not a tiny app, but that's, if they truly did get 70 million new users, that is a big jump, a big push on their servers.
I just thought about it for a second. I think here's what it is. It's like you and I are communicating during WhatsApp, and then suddenly we can't. So I give you a call and say, can you just download Telegram? I've been using it with all my other friends. And then that person finally does it. So maybe there were a lot of peer pressure to get upgraded to that.
Yes, and I will say there's been some odd anecdotes about the outage, and apparently Facebook's card key system for physical access to their buildings is based on Facebook, so people couldn't get into the buildings. And I saw a couple people mentioning that they were getting big steel cutters and stuff to try to get in these server cages to fix stuff and access, and it was and any other services that use Facebook sign-in, those were all down too. And it turns out it was something to do with DNS and BGP keys, and Facebook screwed up big time on that. And as far as the whole whistleblower story goes, that's a whole weird thing. And since we are the most nonpartisan tech podcast on the internet, we won't dig into that one too much, because there's a lot of people have a lot of opinions on why she is doing what she is doing.
Right.
But there is one opinion we'll dig into: Dave's pro tip of the week.
So this tip of the week, we've talked in fits and bouts in the past about this over time, but it's very relevant because I actually used this tip today, because there was a coworker of mine that I've been communicating with, and I said, well, sometimes I send you a message and it's on your iCloud, but there's only 2 messages in there. But when I send something to your phone number, that's like our whole chain. And so I'm scared to send something to the default one, which is the iCloud, because I don't think you're going to get it. Are you using a phone and an iPad, or what's the deal? And he says, no, I'm just using my phone. I said, let me look at your settings real quick, because there may be something out of whack. I was going to say out of sync, and that might be relevant here in a second. So if you at home have an iPhone and maybe another like a Mac computer or an iPad or something. And you notice it's like, I've got like 2 things going to Nate. Like, what is going on? Chances are one of those threads has been started via your iCloud account, and the other one's been started through your phone number. What I believe the optimal case for this situation is to make sure that you have iCloud sync turned on. There's a setting that I'm going to show you today that you may never have noticed. And it's even more relevant as people are getting new phones, because this typically happens whenever you switch to a new phone. So if you have an iPhone and you want to play along at home, go into your settings, and at the very top of the settings page should be your iCloud/Apple ID profile. And when you click that button, you'll be brought to the Apple ID screen. In the second section down, there's an item called iCloud. And we've been here before. We've talked about iCloud. And you may recall that there are just switches upon switches upon switches upon switches in here. And this is the place where you tell individual applications to synchronize the data with the iCloud service. By default, messages is not checked. You have to check messages because message to message communication is encrypted. However, if you go through the iCloud server, I believe that it's not encrypted, and they can, if the feds or whatever wanted to get into your iCloud, they could read those messages. So from device to device, messages is encrypted. But if you put anything through the iCloud server, it can be decrypted by Apple. This is just the truth. It's been known forever. So I think the reason is they don't turn this on by default is so they can keep your messages secure if that's what you want to do. And it's funny, we're just talking about WhatsApp and Telegram and all these other things. That's why people might want to use Telegram versus WhatsApp versus Signal or versus messages, because some of them are encrypted and some of them are not. But I digress. So this fellow down in his messages section, it was grayed out. He did not have the messages synchronized through his iCloud. Once he turned that on and we double checked his phone to make sure that all new messages originate from his phone number and not from his iCloud account, it merged and synced the two together, and we just have one thread now. So have you ran into this before, Nate?
Yes. And my secondary one that I have experienced personally with having a new phone is if you go into settings and messages, sometimes it takes a while for your phone number to connect in or do that. So if you go into the messages setting and then there's send and receive, and mine has 6 different addresses. And
this is where we went into his phone after we did the iCloud thing. So yes, please continue.
And there is the second part of that. You can receive messages at all these, and then there's start new conversations from. And I'm looking on my new phone, and it is actually says start new conversations from my second business line, not from my personal line. So I'm glad I checked that. But oftentimes it'll be your iCloud email or one of those email addresses that it'll start a new message chain from, so it can get confused. So I'm glad I checked that, and I strongly agree on the messages sync. It really helps because I'm on my computer and my phone all the time, and it really does a good job of keeping everything synced up.
Yeah. If you don't do this, you may start a message from your computer, which is going to go through your iCloud if you don't have it set on your phone correctly. And then you're going to get into this situation like I just described. So a quick recap, because I realize this is really complicated. It confuses me. It's overly complicated. There's the whole iCloud versus Apple ID and the phone versus the iCloud network. And what is messages? Is it iMessage or is it messages? You know, we've talked about all these confusing things before, but all you really need to know is to go into your iPhone settings, go to your Apple ID setting at the very top with your picture, go into the iCloud folder and make sure the messages switch is turned on, and that will synchronize all your devices through iCloud. And then for extra credit, go back to the main screen, scroll down to the messages setting. It has its own setting, and do what we talked about, making sure all of your messages originate from your phone number only, and that the devices that you want to sync have a little checkbox near them. So if you do that, you can solve a lot of problems. And I know that there's someone out there sitting right now going, that's That's what's been going on.
Mm-hmm.
So you're welcome, is all I have to say.
Yes. Thank you for that. I solved myself some headache by switching that setting, and I checked on my Mac as well, and it had the other phone number. So I switched it to my personal number, and in there's a checkbox for enable messages in iCloud.
Nate,
so
I am even helping you tech better.
Yes. I am tech bettering as we go. Well, let us move on to our takes of the week. There's an article based on a tweet. That's most of the internet these days, but I believe it was Jason Snell. He was talking about the fact that Google's apps on iOS are going to actually embrace iOS. Now, Google has their own design language, material design on Android, and they have spent a ton of time putting that into their iOS apps. We've talked in the past about how slow they are at doing that, but they really like to have their certain look for things. Well, apparently, through some conversations and some tweets, that Google is going to just start using iOS's default design language type stuff, all the stuff that's built in. So they're talking about the fact that it's actually going to make their job a lot easier because they're using all the built-in tools instead of having to completely customize the app on iOS to make it look like Android. So,
right. So for those of you who don't know, when someone sits down to write a program for their phone, you have a suite of tools and user interface elements and all kinds of scripting and everything that's just built in for free that you can borrow these elements and create your app from. And Apple has those and Android has those. And before now, Google, who owns Android, has been emulating the entire look of the Android interface on their iOS apps. They're going to start just embracing the built-in tools that Apple has delivered already. Now, one thing that's going to change probably, are there are a lot of iOS users who are going to be like, what? This looks completely different. I've gotten used to how this works, and maybe they have an Android tablet or maybe they do it through the web. And so there will be some relearning of some things and probably trying to find where things are located there for a little while. But I think ultimately this is a great move. It's going to make the iOS versions of the Google's tools just work so much better and work so much more seamlessly. And we should be getting updates more regularly because we're not having to wait on the team to do all the material interface design for a platform that doesn't support it.
Yes. And we should be getting hopefully new features faster because they're not having to take Apple's new features and completely rewrite how they look. All that
be better.
To say Google Apps should be better on iOS.
Yeah.
Well, it was reported this week that apparently all of Twitch, the popular for game streaming and other live streaming platform, which is owned by Amazon, all of it has been leaked. Their entire source code apparently was a 125 gigabyte torrent link that was shared, and it has top payout reports since 2019, some proprietary software and stuff that they use to work with Amazon servers, and some unreleased Steam competitors. So somebody got 125 gigabytes worth of access of Twitch stuff. And the source code, that one is real dangerous because then it gives people a lot of information about where weaknesses might be in the Twitch platform. And
it's the keys to the kingdom for sure.
Yeah. So not good. And if you're on Twitch, you might just go turn on two-factor authentication, reset your password just for the heck of it. I haven't seen anything about, passwords or personal information besides just like those payout reports and some of that. So
I was going to do this last night when I learned of this, and I went to Twitch and I was like, I don't even remember the last time I was on Twitch. And then I was like, if someone hacked into my account, that's like, what would they do? So I quickly squirreled to some other thing and forgot about it. I will eventually go in and update that. But I don't use Twitch a lot, but my son does. And I know a lot of other younger people who are in the big video game scene use Twitch a lot. So,
yes. And then in the dystopian story of the week, Government secretly orders Google to identify anyone who searched a sexual assault victim's name, address, and telephone number. So the government ordered a search-based warrant to Google. So anybody that searched for this person that was a victim of a crime, Google was supposed to give up any information on any search related to that, which hopefully it helped in this case, but man, that could go in a bad way fast. If the government can just say, hey, anybody that searched for this term, give us the information on this.
Or anybody who searched the term insurrection or overthrow government or take down government or whatever. These are things that like communist countries do, where they have a pulse on the searching of their entire population so that they can suss out people and prevent overthrows and do all these things in secret. It kind of sends chills up my spine. It seems innocuous, but if they can do this, they can ask for anything.
Yes. And it does look like that there have been, according to the Electronic Frontier Foundation, there have been 3 other Google keyword warrants that have been used in the investigation into serial Austin bombings in 2018, and also a couple for Microsoft and Yahoo for their search engines. Yeah, this is crazy stuff. So we'll move on to funner news that Tesla is moving its headquarters from California to Texas.
Yeehaw! I can just see Elon Musk right now in a cowboy hat and cowboy boots, strutting on a stage, fumbling what he's going to say.
Riding an electric horse.
An electric horse. Yeah. Yes. Oh, there he is right there. If you click on the link, he's got a bandana around his neck, the very Western wear. Oh, and he's wearing a t-shirt. So he's all he's all gussied up like a cowboy.
He is a character, but yeah, they're moving from Palo Alto, California. And if you'll remember back, I don't know when it was, they did decide to build their new Tesla mega factory or whatever in Texas. Mm-hmm. But now they're moving their headquarters there. And there's been several other companies, tech companies and other companies that have left California in the last year because they don't seem to like businesses there too much. But I think that's okay, nonpartisan thing to say.
Yeah. And I'm not a big conspiracy theorist type person, but I will say that Elon has shown interest in taking over Texas electrical grid because they had some problems last winter where they could, the $900 bills and stuff. Yeah, the ice storms. So I think he's confident he can build a better system. And I think being in Texas is going to really help leverage his, hey, we're a Texas company. Use us to do whatever. So that's my conspiracy theory. But I think the other part of him wanting to be out of California rings true as well.
Well, after those two, especially that government search warrant one, let's cleanse our palate with the bonus odd take. This is one that you found, and I don't know if we've talked about this one before. I remember something vaguely similar, but the link
it's
you had...
It's probably the same thing. Who knows?
It might be. My90stv.com. They also have my 60s, 70s, 80s, and 2000s TV, and you've got a very old school looking TV there, depending on which decade you choose. And then you can turn it on and you can flip through and watch stuff from your decade. Did you pick the 90s specifically, or is that just the link that you had shared?
That's the one that I found that the person had shared on Reddit that I found. But if I were to choose one, it would be an 80s, an 80s channel. And now I've turned on 80s and I cannot get it to shut off. And now I'm hearing static in my ear. Because I can't find the content.
Ooh, we've got a little Salt and Pepper video that popped on when I turned mine on. It's got the photos. It's the 80s one. It's got the clicker to change the channel for both the UHF and the VHF.
Yeah.
When those were separate. Oh man, memories.
I can see Todd maybe liking this. I was going to send it to him, but I wanted him to be surprised and prove that he listens to the show by bringing this up later. But yes, like in the 90s, for example, it's got over 2,000 cartoons, 1,300 comedies, 15,000 commercials. I mean, you pick a channel or category, and you can just go through these things and it's amazing.
Yes. No, I need to spend some more time on this. This would be a good background thing to have going while I'm working or doing something, just to reminisce of decades past.
Absolutely.
I like it. And let's reminisce about picks going forward with our picks of the week.
And speaking of television, Nate, I don't know if you've known this, but there's a company called Netflix, and they've been in the news lately with a show called The Squid Game. Are you familiar with this show?
I am familiar with Netflix, and I have seen talk of Squid Game all over the place and have not, from the talk I've heard, I haven't gone to watch it yet, but I might check it out at some point.
Well, I'll probably do some recommendations in the future, more and more about content, because one of the blessings and curses that we have today is the blessing is we have as much content in as many different genres and categories as you could ever want. I mean, for crying out loud, our bonus odd take of the week, you could watch thousands of hours of retro TV, right? So there's so much content to watch. We need someone to help us curate it. And so when we find something, we need to share it. And that's exactly what the internet has done. They've identified Squid Game as something to watch and shared it around. And so I would recommend this program. I think it's 9 or 10 episodes long. It's just one season. I don't know if they're working on a season 2 or not. It's kind of a Black Mirror. I wouldn't call it dystopian future. It kind of takes place in the present. But if you like sci-fi horror type genre, thriller type stuff, then this is for you. I don't really want to describe what it's about because I don't want to give anything away. Yes. But it's very interesting to watch. And if you watch episode 1, you'll get the idea of what's going on. Just a note, it is a Korean produced program. All of the speaking is in Korean, and you can turn on subtitles. Mine defaulted to the English dub of it. So it was it was guys talking like this, over just very weird. It's like, do you have to, can you just sound normal when you talk or whatever?
Yes.
But what a hard job the dubbing is. And there's been some controversy. It's like, well, the dubbing's not exactly like the Korean. Yeah, no. It's being translated. I mean,
they're different languages.
So I don't think there's any controversy. I think that there's just people who speak both Korean and English have watched it both ways and like, wait, these aren't consistent. It's like, it's kind of, we get the idea. But very interesting. I don't even know how to describe it.
That's what I've kind of heard, that it's pretty wild and definitely caught the internet by storm. And but I'm guessing this is not one that I'll be sitting down to watch with the wife and daughter.
No, I would say it's definitely like adult R-rated type stuff. There's there's a little bit of sax or whatever. I don't recall seeing
saxophone.
Sax.
There's a little bit of saxophone in it. I'm in. You have to get saxophone.
Well, it's hard for me to say. I don't want to, I don't want to say that word.
Yes.
Tons of blood and violence. That's what I would say it would be known for, is the body horror and violence. That's what you want to look out for.
Very nice. I should watch at least an episode so I know what everybody's talking about.
Just watch episode 1 and you'll be up to speed.
Yes. Well, my pick of the week this week is actually in the new version of a previous pick, and it's the photo app called Halide. And Halide is a... they kind of market themselves as a professional photo app for iOS, and they have a lot of features that they built in over the years, and they switched. I had the original version. They upgraded to a subscription model last year, but I got like a free year, so I get this current upgrade. Well, I've been touting the amazing cameras in the new 13 Pro. Mm-hmm. And so they did a blog post talking about the macro mode, which I've been having a lot of fun with, just how it works, how Apple does it, what they built into their app. Well, they also announced that in their new version 2.5, that the macro mode will also work on any phones, I think, going back to 2017. So hopefully any phone that any of our iPhone that any of our listeners have, they've built in a macro mode. Now, it's not going to work quite as well as the iPhone 13, but on the older phones, there is a feature, and I would recommend just click the link that I put in the show notes to their blog article, because it really shows you how the macro works on the iPhones 13, but also some of the new features in their app. And I really want to start using, like, it has, one of the features in their app is it has manual focus. So you can do manual focus when you're taking photos, and just some other really cool stuff. It's a really great app. I think it's like $12 a year for the subscription. But if you're interested in taking your iPhone photos to the next level, or if you have an older iPhone and want to play around with more of the macro features, check out Halide 2.5. You've used Halide in the past.
Yes, I own Halide, and I'm thinking, I don't recall this subscription thing. I hope I'm not paying a yearly subscription for the thing. I must just have the free. I've paid for it in the past, and I just must have the free,
I think
whatever.
The free year, and so you can get this latest version. Then I think it's like next month, which is very nice of them. Before everybody's free year goes up that had paid in the past, they're doing this major rollout with a lot of new features. But I will continue to pay for it. The greatest Photos app is the camera app because it's so quick. But if you really want to be able to control what you're doing with your photos, and they've got some auto AI stuff built in, similar to the auto enhance feature in the regular camera app that I like to use, where you can kind of develop your picture. And I tried it on a couple photos, and it really, really was impressive what they're doing to make photos look better, which I always like, because my photos don't always look great. So if they can help me take better photos, I'm a fan.
Yeah, I don't use Halide much, and so I need to break it back out and use it and see. I'll report back.
Yes, please do. And with that, we are going to wrap up this episode. Thank you so much for listening. Make sure you check us out on the socials and talk to us there. Ask us your questions, whatever it might be, technology related or not. Ask your questions, and we'll do our best to help you out so you can get out there and tech better. But there is only one opinion on why Dave's pro tip of the week. No. Apparently,
I've never been on live television before.
Apparently,
Grandpa just gives me a remote after we watch the Powerball.